we're going to look at some basic shapes of distributions, and probably the most important distribution in all of statistics is the normal distribution. And what you want to think about is if you're given data values, x, okay, so x represents data values, okay, and you start making a bar graph, okay, or a frequency histogram. Okay, each bar represents a data value and the number of times it occurs. So the height of the bar represents the frequency, the number of times that the data value occurs. So a normal distribution will start out low, build its way up, eventually get to a highest point, and then work its way back down in the same general pattern as it worked itself up. Okay, now it may not be perfect there, but just in general, that's the kind of the shape that it would follow. Now that's a bar graph or a frequency histogram. Okay, now what we can do though is we can draw a nice smooth curve between those, or over top of the bar graph. Okay, so if we do that, okay, we get this general shape. Now I'll draw it off of the curve so you can see it a little bit better. Okay, it looks something like this. Okay, they'll call it a bell curve. Okay, and your axis is x. Okay, so that's what a normal curve looks like. You have the symmetry on each side of the center, the highest points in the center. So that's the general shape for a normal distribution. Now, one of the things that we'll examine is where would you expect to find the typical data value? Okay, the measures of central tendency, meaning the mean, the median, and the mode. Well, as far as the mode goes, okay, that's the data value that occurs most often. And when you look at the bars, the height of the bar tells you the frequency. So the higher the bar, the more times that x value occurred. So the mode will be the highest bar, which is right in the center. The median is the middle number. So again, if you count the same number of data values from each end, so whatever the frequency is here, on each end it's about the same, the next bar about the same, and so on. So the middle data value would also be where the mode was, right in the center. Okay, and then as far as the mean goes, the average, well, you want to think about if you were to add all the data values up, these bars here, whatever the data values were, so for example, just suppose this was 10 down here, so if these were, say, ages of something, if this was 10 down here and, say, 30 up here, they would average to a 20, which is halfway between them right here. Okay, the next bar in, those data values would average with the next bar from the right end. They would average with those to also get the value in the center, about 20. Okay, in just the example I mentioned. Okay, so what happens is, for a normal distribution, the mean, median, and mode are all right in the center. Okay, and I have it already done out a little nicer here. Okay, so I'll put that up. Okay, the next thing, or the next type of distribution, is the uniform distribution. And what uniform means is the same throughout. Okay, so that's just a distribution that's basically like a rectangle. Okay, and all the bars are approximately the same height. Now, in practice, very, very rarely would you have distributions that are exactly the same data value all the way through. Okay, but they could be relatively close to the same. Okay, so that's a uniform distribution. And with that, with the mean, median, mode, well, the mean and the median are the same explanation for the normal curve. Okay, the average, well, these values down here would average with the ones on the right end to the center. The median is the middle number. So if there's the same number in each of the frequency bars, then The median, the middle number, will be right in the center where the mean is. And then this one has no mode because there is no value that occurs more than any other. Okay, the next type of distribution we have are skewed distributions. And two basic ones are skewed left and skewed right. Okay, skewed left. One way that I like to think about skewed left is you take a curve like the normal curve, and if you were to tug on the left end, it would pull some of these bars out to the left. In a skewed right distribution, just tug on the right-hand end, and it'll pull some of the bars out to the right. So it's longer on the right end, where a skewed left distribution will be longer on the left end. Okay, so the basic shapes of those, and again, if you want to pause the video and just make a little diagram of those, okay, those would be what those shapes look like. So again, skewed left is longer on the left end. Okay, so if you look at where the highest bar is, pull to the left is left skewed, and then take the highest bar here, pull to the right, so it's longer, there's more on the right end as far as the number of bars go. Okay, that'll be right skewed. Now as far as the mean, median, mode with these, well, the mode is the easiest one to find. That's the highest bar. So the mode will be here for the skewed left and then here for the skewed right. So the highest bar is the mode. Okay, the median and the mean are a little trickier. Okay, but remember, the median means the middle number. Well, with skewed left, the height of the bar is the number of times x occurred. So there's not very many out here to the left, you know, with the first bar, then the next one. But eventually, they'll add themselves up to start being more significant. Well, if you look at the highest bar, that's where that's where the highest number of data values are. So where the median is going to be, it will be pulled a little bit to the left, because all these bars on the left hand of the highest bar will be a little bit more in number than the few bars on the right of the highest. Okay, so the median is pulled a little bit to the left of the mode. Okay, and then as far as the mean goes, the average, the way I think that makes sense to think about this is just suppose that distribution were symmetric. Okay, so just suppose that it were symmetric, you know, kind of like between here, between here and here. Okay, well, then the average would be right in the center. But what happens is when you start bringing in those lower numbers on the left end, that's going to pull the average toward them. Okay, it's going to pull them down. So on a normal curve, okay, so up here in the normal curve, the left end and right end average together to right at the center. But now what's happening is we don't have as many values on the right end. So what's happening is the ones that are further out on the left are pulling the mean down toward them. Okay, so the mean of a skewed left distribution is to the left of the mode and the median, generally speaking. Now, obviously it does depend what your numbers are, okay, as far as how extreme the difference is, or the location is. Okay, for the skewed right distribution, very similar idea, except the mean is further to the right than the median is, and then the mode is still at the highest bar. Okay, so those are 4 basic shapes. Okay, now if we look at an example, okay, so if we're given this distribution, we want to kind of estimate where we expect the mean, median, mode to be. Okay, and describe the shape of the graph. Okay, so this one, okay, I'll give you a minute to think about what the shape would be, which of the 4 basic shapes is it, and then where would you expect to find the mean, median, and mode. And I'm going to put the answers up just so this doesn't run for 20 minutes. Okay, but your answers may be a little bit different than what mine are, but they shouldn't be too different. Okay, so if you need to pause the video, go ahead. And I'm going to put the answers up. Okay, so this is skewed left. Okay, the mean is about 9. Okay, so right around in here, I would expect the mean to be. The median, I would expect to be closer to around 10 or 10 and a half. And then the mode is the highest one. There's no disputing that. That's at 12.5. Okay, because that's the highest bar. Okay, and then for the next example, okay, again, you can pause the video, but explain the shape and find the mean, median, mode. Well, this one, normal curve and mean, median, mode are all right in the center. Okay, so those are just looking at some basic shapes of graphs and where you would expect to find the mean, median, mode when you're given those basic shapes.